For the foreseeable future, I expect food prices to increase due to load shedding. Load shedding is our biggest enemy at this point in time.
South Africa and South African businesses and consumers are facing the prospect of ever higher food prices, along with high inflation, for 2023 and the medium to short-term future. Joining me to unpack is Christo van der Rheede. He is the CEO of Agri SA. He's going to try and help us understand the current state of play and also what we can expect later on this year. Christo, thank you very much for joining us. Just to start off with, what is your experience at the moment with food prices in South Africa as we record this now at the end of January of this year?
If you look at the statistics that was released by Stats SA, that's now the December statistics in terms of food inflation, then it seems to us that food inflation has come down a little bit. There's some of our key foodstuffs that has really come down, and that's good news for consumers. But remember now, if you compare food prices now with food prices, for example, in December 2021, then you'll find that consumers are really battling it out there. For a basic household and a basic food basket, they're going to pay at least 380 Rand more. That's how, according to BFAP stats. So yes, although food inflation is coming down a little bit, food prices has gone up tremendously over the past year. And that's because of a number of factors. The war in Ukraine that has pushed up the price of edible oils and wheat and so forth. And then obviously it has a major impact on a whole range of inputs that farmers are using at this point in time to produce food. For the foreseeable future, I expect food prices to increase due to load shedding. Load shedding is our biggest enemy at this point in time. So sorry that I don't have very positive news. It could have gone better, but because of load shedding, I don't think that we will see a dramatic lowering of food prices into the future. Instead, the opposite will happen.
In terms of trying to, or not trying to put you on the spot too much, but do you foresee something like unrest driven by very high food prices at any point maybe this year? Do you think things could go that badly in that direction, or do you think there's some sort of risk mitigation in South Africa's food supply, maybe a good harvest, for example, that sort of thing?
You know, we were quite blessed in 2019, 2020 and 21 with very good rains. And I expect also good rainfall for this year. So I think our harvest looks very good, especially in our summer grain areas. We also had a very good winter grain crop, and all of these things are very positive. So we are blessed in the in the sense that we've got a very good crop of commercial farmers in South Africa. And we were fortunate in that government declared sector as an essential service. That was now just before lockdown. So that helped to ease the pressure on food inflation, and it also gave our farmers an opportunity to make the most of good climatic conditions, because that's the only time that a farmer really makes a bit of money. If you've got a drought, and we've seen a very prolonged drought in 2015, 2016, that had a major impact on our summer grain crop, for example. It dropped from 15 million tons to the region of 7 million tons. And farmers immediately recovered when the rain started to fall. And this year, I think our current crop estimate tells us that we're going to have more than 15 million tons of maize available, to almost 3 million tons of soya available. So I think we don't have to worry about the availability of food. The bigger issue is the affordability of food, because due to load shedding, farmers have a huge battle on their hands to slaughter enough poultry for the retail market, for the fast food market. I know some of fast food outlets have already complained about the fact that they don't have enough poultry, for example, available to prepare for customers. And then farmers have also complained about, dairy farmers, that they've already had to discard some of their milk due to the fact that the milk turned sour. And yes, the biggest threat for us is the 2.5 or 2.7 million tons of grains that are being produced under irrigation. Remember, that's our backup. So if anything goes wrong with your dryland crops, then you've got backup. And also, the big threat for us is the impact that load shedding will have on irrigation or your perennial crops, for example. Our citrus farmers are anxious. They need water for those trees so that they can have a good crop. So yes, that's the biggest challenge that we have at this point in time. But I don't foresee that we will have major uprising. I think the uprisings will be about service delivery, about the fact that people will have electricity for long periods. But you don't know how those uprisings can turn out. If people start, destroying shops to get hold of food. So all of these things are a possibility.
Christo, in terms of Agri SA's work specifically, so you touched on load shedding, for example. So for your members, different associations, of course, that form part of the wider federation, what do you see in terms of risk mitigation strategies for farmers, for members? What are they trying to do to at least dampen some of the issues that they're now being exposed to with, for example, continually increasing load shedding stages, issues with transport, maybe? What are they trying to do sort of on the ground? Because it's easy for us. I think we go to the shops, we expect food to be there, but if people have to get it there, how are they trying to navigate these things? If you can give a few examples, maybe.
It was really interesting. Just before I wanted to go on holiday, early in December, got a phone call from a farmer that said, "Listen, Mr. Van der Rheede, you can go on holiday, but remember, my lucerne and my cows and my vegetables are not going on holiday. A farm cannot close shop." And he emphasized the impact, the disastrous impact that load shedding had on already then on irrigation and on feeding feedlots, also chicken, poultry in chicken coops and so forth, and the impact it had on the incubators where eggs are being produced and so forth. So we then immediately made contact with the Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Finance, as well as the presidency, and we really pushed it very hard that here's a crisis on our hands. We also wrote to Eskom and emphasized the importance of looking at a more flexible way of introducing load shedding. So we were fortunate in that the minister got the entire sector together earlier this year and said, listen, what are the problems? So the poultry people stated their case, the dairy farmers, the irrigation farmers, you name them, all of them had a massive issue. And we highlight the fact that, food shortage or food insecurity pose political risk, it poses economic risk, socio-economic risk, a biosecurity risk, safety risk for farmers because your cameras are not working, you are not sure whether people are entering your personal space, especially the perimeter around a farmhouse. And then she put a technical task team together. So that task team's job is to put a report together, also come up with short-term, medium, and long-term solutions so the cabinet can hear exactly what needs to be done to overcome or to mitigate a food shortage situation. We also met with Eskom, and for Eskom we said there's three things that we need immediate attention. Many private households, farmers are also producing electricity. That surplus electricity can be fed back into the grid. They agreed that they're already busy with that plan. And secondly, we said, let's do away with this peak hour and, lower demand time slots because farmers do not have the luxury of choosing due to load shedding. And thirdly, we said, let's look at how we can have a more flexible approach in terms of load shedding.
Thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this analysis. Please remember before you leave to like this video if you have not yet done so. Also, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate any support that you can give us. As another reminder, please, we invite you to become a client of the Centre for Risk Analysis. You can find all of the information in the description below. You can also sign up for our free trial and have access to our services for a 30-day free trial. See how you like it, and then hopefully you become a permanent subscriber. Until next time, this has been Chris Hattingh for the Centre for Risk Analysis. Take care.